Hey everyone! So for this video I'm going to start off a new book called Doctor Who Pirate Loop. So yeah, let's begin. 6,000 robots danced through the street of Milky Pink City. They had never been programmed with dance lessons, but what they lacked in style they made up for in enthusiasm. All around, metal limbs twisted with abandon. Tall robots did something that looked like the rumba. Lifting robots did the mashed potato. And weaving in and out between them raced Doctor and Martha Jones. Martha and the Doctor had been in Milky Pink City for no more than 4 hours. It had not gone brilliantly well. The city and all its robots had been built years ago to serve and pamper thousands of human holiday makers. But the humans had never arrived. Intergalactic tourism, the Doctor had explained, was an unforgiving business. So the robots had been delighted to see Martha and the Doctor, even if they hadn't booked ahead. They had fallen over themselves to oblige to every whim. They squabbled about who would fetch Martha a drink, and came to blows over who took the Doctor's coat. It had quickly turned into war between different fractions of keen-to-please robots with executive manners. And then, an hour later, they turned on the Doctor and Martha as sources of all the problems. This, thought Martha, now as she ran to keep up with the Doctor, her hand held tightly in his, was what happened when you tried to force people to have a good time. She remembered a particularly miserable family holiday at some activity camp outside London. Her big sister Trish falling for one of the creepy blokes that worked there. She shuddered, even being sentenced to death by a city of daft robots wasn't quite as terrifying as that place. For one thing, you couldn't defeat creepy blokes by playing them songs from your iPod. It's funny, she said to the Doctor as they ducked and weaved between the dancing robots. My brother hates this song. What? Said the Doctor, stopping in his tracks. He spun on his heels in his trainers, his long coat and silvery tie whirling around him. He swept his hands through his spiky and scoffy hair. But this is a classic. Humans doing what they do. Daring to be brown and blue and violet sky. He laughed. I don't even know what that means. See? Brilliant! Martha raised an eyebrow. With the robots still dancing around them, didn't seem the best time to indulge him. Yeah, well, he chastened, taking her hand and leading her on through the strange and metal streets. Party. You know, I once saw Mika live in Denmark. Yeah? Said Martha, weirdly. I was there too. He turned his wild, inquisitive eyes on her like he only just noticed her there. What a coincidence, he said. Funny how these things work out, ain't it? But his wide grin and enthusiasm were infectious. Martha found herself grinning back. They turned the corner and Martha felt her heart leap. At the end of the alleyway, beyond, yet more coveting robots, stood the TARDIS. They made their way through the last of the dancing robots. While the Doctor rummaged through his deep pockets to find the TARDIS key, Martha looked back one last time to the city. 2 small robots the size and shape of kitchen bins were dancing through the same keen but clumsy routine she remembered from an old-school disco. She felt a sudden pang of sorrow for the silly machines. But won't they get bored of the song one day? She asked the Doctor. Ah, he said brightly, producing a yo-yo from his pocket. No, hang on, sorry. He handed the yo-yo to her and had another go. Almost, don't worry, I've done this before. He produced the nauseous looking key. Yes, get aboard, he said as he unlocked the door to his spaceship. But they were programmed as holiday reps, weren't they? Every one of them a born entertainer. They got the hooks and beats and chirps. Martha gasped at him. They'll make their own music, won't they? She laughed. They'll entertain themselves. Right on, sister, grinned the doctor. A bit of culture to liberate the workers. Come on, let's leave them to it. A moment later, with gruff rasping getting sound and torn through the fabric of time and space itself, the police box was gone from the alleyway. 6,000 robots live happily ever after. So what's next? Said the doctor, fussing with the TARDIS controls, his long skinny fingers dancing across the strange array of instruments and dials, his face lit by the eerie pale glow of the central column. What about a spaceship? Said Martha. That spaceship? Agreed the doctor. He began to set the coordinates, then stopped and looked back at her. Which spaceship? That spaceship you were telling me about, when we were waiting to be executed. She sighed and rolled her eyes. Just a minute ago. The doctor's eyes narrowed into slits as he struggled to remember. Oh, that spaceship, he said after a moment. Come on, she said. You said it was brilliant. Well, it was, literally. The Starship Brilliant, luxury passenger thing. In space. But I only told you about it to take your mind off, well, you know. He drew his fingers quickly across his neck. Yeah, but come on, said Martha, leaning towards him across the console. You said nobody knew what happened to it. Not even you. Well, no, he said, scratching the back of his head. Not exactly. I mean, there are theories. He began to step lightly around the control console, flicking switches, careful not to meet her gaze. It could have fallen into a black hole, or crashed into a giant space squid. You know, it vanished just before a huge galactic war. No, Martha said. Well, that could mean things, couldn't it? Oh, come on, said Martha. You know you want to. It's a mystery. Yeah, well, the doctor thrust his hand into the trouser pockets of his skinny parsnip suit, his way of looking casual. Exploring a spaceship that you know is going to vanish forever probably is a bit dangerous. Dangerous and reckless. Dangerous and reckless and irresponsible. What? She laughed. And you've never known what happened to it, ever. It's not like you at all. The doctor gazed at her, deep brown eyes wide open. Martha felt the smile on her own face falter, her insides turning over. She had come to accept the doctor didn't share his feelings for him. But sometimes, the way he looked at her. So we're going? She said quickly. It'll bother me if we don't, he said, busy now with the coordinates of the helmet regulator. He stopped to look back at her. But there are some rules, important ones. Whatever you say. Yes, whatever I say, Martha did her best to look serious. 1, the doctor continued. We can't get involved with anyone we meet. 2, we absolutely cannot change anything. Not a bean. Nufkin, nada, na, ni, no. Right? And 3, turn from the control to look at her, and his eyes sparkled and greened. Oh, what's the use? He said as he plunged the lever and sent them hurtling back in time. Honestly, it'll be fine, began Martha, but the huge explosion cut her sentence short. She was thrown off her feet and hurled over her heels across the TARDIS console and crashed hard into the metal mesh floor. Typical, she thought, as everything faded to black.